Okay, so I'm going over my first set of board games that I'm going to get rid of. Starting off with Guildhall. Now, this game isn't a bad game. It's just, I don't know. I can take it or leave it, and if I'm going to fit my um, board game collection down to 125 titles, then I think that one's just not going to cut it. Edelverpflichtet, which I think translates to like hoity-toity. That was just an old game. Cosmic Encounter, that's an old early edition of the game. I've got the newer one. The Third World War. A lot of these games were given to me actually, so I've never played them. I probably never play them, so gonna get rid of them. So yeah, I've never played it. Not really interested. Pericles, it's got some nice components, but it's gonna go. Acquire, I do like the game. My friends and I from college, we play it often every time we meet each other pretty much. And it's one of my earlier games that I got into my collection, but nowadays it's being outclassed by many other games like Stockpile or Raccoon Tycoon. So this one is Space Pirates. Don't know anything about it. Never played it. Here's Ophir, which I think has a pretty good auction mechanism in it, but I haven't played it yet. Game of Thrones, a board game. I've played it a couple times. It was fun. I don't know. It's just hard to get. I think it's better with 5 or 6 players, and especially with expansion, I think it makes it better. But it's hard to get that many players, not only together, especially in the age of COVID, but also like I prefer playing 3 or 4 player games anyway. Praetor, I got this at Geekway to the West, maybe in 2016 or 17. Haven't played it. Camel Up or Camel Cup, not sure. Well, it's a kid's game. It's fun and all, but it's gonna go. New York 1901. It's a pretty decent tile laying game, but yeah, it's gonna go. Photosynthesis. I've enjoyed it. The times I've played it, but it's got a nice sun, sort of like this revolving sundial seasons thing that comes with the game. It's pretty cool. There are some elements of it where I don't understand why, like a tree won't grow up because of a single shadow. Like I don't know, or yeah, there's some weird like nuances in the blocking portion of the game where I just don't understand, and I think it should be sort of revamped to maybe allow for some, not completely being blocked, because it can totally ruin somebody's day. But it's a good game still, taking that into consideration. Alright, the next set here are a lot of games that were given to me. Never played them, probably won't play them unless some of these can be soloed. But we've got Chariot Race. I bought somewhere in Missouri. A friend mistook it for a better game. We played it once. It was actually okay, and I'd like to play it again, but it's not keeper worthy. Let's see. We've got Pandemic. Drinking some tea here for everybody watching. So Pandemic, it's a good game. Now the only thing with this is, well, for one, I don't like cooperative games because of the like alpha gamer aspect of it, where everybody just, or one person just kind of controls and plays their, like suggests, like all the moves to the players. But anyways, besides that, it's still a pretty good game, but I'm not gonna keep it. Diplomacy, real old version of it, has the wooden blocks instead of I forget what's in the modern version now, but anyways, this is the DC Comics deck building game. It's fun. Nothing really anything to write home about, but I preferred the Lord of the Rings deck building game from Cryptozoic, but this one, yeah, it's not that outstanding. The Third Reich, never played it. War in the South Atlantic, I think this was on the Falkland Islands, war between Britain and Argentina, I think, back in like the early 80s. Anyways, probably won't play it. Not interested in that war. Campaign Manager 2008. We find out who wins. Obama did win, but still, I'd like to try out this game at least to see how it plays. I bet it's sort of like besides the theme or like who the candidates are. I think there's a fairly decent game in there, so I could be wrong. A couple of bookcase games. We've got France 1940, Tobruk, After the Holocaust, Fury in the West, Kingmaker, 1776, and Hell's Highway. A lot of old Avalon Hill or Victory Point games. Never played them. Probably won't play them. All of them are chit and counter games. And I'm sure they're good if, there would be somebody interested in playing them with me. But with my game group, it's hard to find somebody that will go sit down and go through a hex and counter game and play it multiple times. So those are more likely goners for me. Alright guys, so here's the next set of board games I'm going to get rid of. Not this Motor Bacane bike though. This is a great bike, but that's a topic for another day. So let me just get this out of the way. Alright, so the next set of board games I have are Legendary. Now that, I've soloed this 5 or 6 times now, and it was fun playing the game solo, but I think one of the biggest problems a lot of people have is that, and I have this also, is that it's just a little bit too easy to win against the masterminds. I think they have fixed it with later expansions, making it a little bit tougher, but still, it's a fairly easy game. And another thing about it is some of the expansions are so hard to get, and the prices are jacked up way too high. But the base game itself, I'm gonna take it out of my list. Dungeon Command, it's got really cool minis in there, but besides that, Between Two Cities, I don't know, it's an okay game. I don't really understand the negotiation between the players to your left and right with this. I mean, you decide what you want, and you can kind of see what they're trying to build up. I don't know. I just didn't get that feeling of you're in control of the negotiation between you and your partner as much as you're just controlling what you want to do. Next up is Diplomacy, which I'm getting rid of the older version as well. Just one of those games that I've heard a lot of great stories on, and how it can break friendships, or how the people that played it back in the day are so close knit. I can kind of get that feeling, but also it's just so hard to get to the table, and you need people that know how to play the game several times before you can actually make create a good memory of it. So with the friends that I would play diplomacy with, we're so spread out, which actually might be a good idea to like zoom the game. Well, I don't know. In any case, I don't think it's a keeper because it's just so hard to get to the table. An old solo game, Patton's Best. I think it's got some pretty cool, like sort of legacy aspects of it, where you have maybe a platoon of armored vehicles that go through and do missions and things like that, or that could have been open fire. I don't remember, but anyways, both of these are really old games. I'd like to solo them just to get the feel for them, but I don't think that there's just so much to understand about the rules to make it like I want it to be quick as far as rule set to grasp, and then I want to get it played as quickly as possible. But the rules are just so nuanced and dense that it's just hard to get these played. Okay, I've got CO2. I think this is the first edition. This was a pretty good game. The only thing is, the reason I'm getting rid of it is there's a newer edition that I'd like to upgrade mine up to. So I'm just going to get rid of it, get the new edition, and play it. Agricola, it's a good like modern game. It's just, I think it's been outclassed by Uwe's other games like Caverna, especially. Man, that's a really good game. But there's nothing wrong with the game. Just I think there's other better implementations of it. Subdivision, Castles of Burgundy, or Castles of Mad King Ludwig, and Suburbia. Sort of a trilogy set of games. All can be soloed, which that's awesome. And the thing is, out of the three, my favorite one is probably Castles of Mad King Ludwig, because it's I feel like it's a little more pleasing, or there's a lot more joy into building your castle and how it all functions together compared to something that you have to pull back from and look at higher level, like Suburbia and Subdivision. They're all pretty good games, not by the same designer. I don't think this one's by Lucas Hedgren, and which is a good game in itself, but they're not memorable for me. So they're going to leave my collection. Okay, the next stack, I've got Louis the 14th game that was given to me. Here it's great with 4 players. Don't play with 3 because some sort of aspect in the game where if you don't get the same number of turns, or the last person to take a turn has a really powerful ability or option in the game. So anyways, they're leaving because I don't know, it seems difficult to get to the table. Rail Baron has one of the few games that have actual photo stock, I guess, of I guess that's what a Rail Baron looks like. This guy's got a huge smirk on his face. Very greaseball looking guy. But anyways, never played it. Given to me. So yeah. Room Service. It's a kid's game. Yeah, it's all right. I think David Pfister made this. Yeah. Robo Rally. A lot of fun. But I don't know. It's just, yeah. Road to Enlightenment. Don't know anything about it. I think I got this as part of a lot in an auction. I've heard bad reviews on it, but still not be worth playing at least once. Batman Gotham City strategy game. Um, it's got some. I've never played HeroClix, or I don't even know exactly what that is, but I think it's the game where you twist the base of the minis, and it shows you what stats they have or something like that. But it has a little bit of that in this game, as far as I think Batman and maybe one other character. But it was fun the few times I played it. I don't know. It wasn't memorable though, so yeah, I can stand to get rid of it. All right, we've got Monsters Menace America here. It looks like a fun dice chucking game. I don't even remember if it has dice, but I'd play this a few times and then decide whether I want to keep it or not. But more than likely, right now it's in the go away stack. And by the way, like all my games, I want to play at least once or twice before I make my final decision on getting rid of them. These are just the games that are towards the get rid of pile already. So we've got Risk 40th edition, pretty heavy with metal soldiers and cavalry and whatnot, cannons. I don't know. It's Risk. It could be the 100th edition for all I care. It's still Risk, which I enjoyed it when I was a kid, just chucking dice, but now it's just bland. Mysterium. It's almost a keeper, but the only thing with it is the new players that are the game master, or who's doing the haunt or whatever, they seem to have a hard time doing that very well. It is a fun game, but I don't know. I just feel like new players, either if they're the hauntees or the ghosts, they have a tough time. They're always gonna blame somebody, saying they didn't get the right clues or whatever. But it's just part of the game. Survive is pretty fun. It's just too light, and one of the bad reviews on this is it's too cutthroat. Well, I mean, it's just a game, and you sort of have to preface the game by saying, there's going to be a lot of cutthroat in it. But if new players don't see it coming, or you don't explain that to them right off the bat, and they experience it, they they get a bad taste in their mouth for the game. But just as long as you explain it early that it's going to happen, we're not cooperating, so to speak. We're trying to get the most points, and your people might be eaten. That happens. But anyways, that's still not good enough to keep. Stefan Feld, Merlin. This was a pretty decent game. Has a nice rondelle. It has the makings of a good game, but I don't know, of all those games, this one I can probably let go of. I think it's got a mini expansion in it, not the Merlin one, but or I forget which one, the King Arthur expansion. But anyways, still gonna get rid of it. I played it enough times. I got the feel for the game. It's easy to actually. It's one of the easier games to kind of get into. But anyways, okay, we're getting to a last stack here. We've got Century Spice Road. It's an okay game. It's actually a pretty good game. It's not just okay. The thing with it though is I got rid of my copy of Splendor, in which I think actually Splendor is better than this. And my reason for it is that it's the Splendor is direct, and it's sort of
is just more blunt than Century Spice Road is. Century has a little bit more going for it, but I don't know. It's just there's something about it where it tries to grasp for a little bit more and be a little bit better than Splendor. But ultimately, I just like the simplicity of Splendor. Now, I get that there are, like the other parts of the trilogy where you can sort of mix and match the games. But ultimately, it's. I mean, not only is it too light, and the game goes pretty quickly, so which is actually another good reason, perhaps, to keep it. But yeah, well, I don't know. For now, it's in the going away pile. Global Puzzle is just a puzzle, 600-piece puzzle. Each country is a little bit. It's its own piece. One of the better puzzles that I've got. Well, the only puzzle I have. 221B Baker Street. It's actually it's a roll and move game. I don't know. It's better with 3 to 4 people, and I think you should modify the game to that so that you're rolling a couple of dice instead of just one. Because man, moving sometimes in this game is just so freaking slow. But the mysteries are okay. They're not too terrible. Jamaica, a racing game. It's fun. It's pretty light. Not memorable enough to keep. Stone Age, classic. I've played this so many times, but I think I definitely like the newer edition better with the animals that attack and the slight rules change. But I mean, this is still a good game. It's just been overplayed, and I can let go of it. Indigo, I think this is one of the better. This is better than Tsuro or the other one from that line. You're just moving, trying to get gems to move into your gates so that you can score points. Okay, next we've got Machiavelli and Africa Core. Both of these games were given to me. Well, also Gettysburg, Guadalcanal, Alexander. These games were given to me. I don't know if I'll play them. I have played Guadalcanal, and this was a really good game. It's got a really cool hidden movement aspect in the game, and the U.S. is trying to find where the Japanese are within the island, and the Japanese are trying to sort of infiltrate and take this air base, Henderson Air Base or something like that. It's not a bad game. It's just I can. That's I can leave it. Alexander, I played also. The only thing I didn't like about it was it was just in a flat. I guess the battlefield took place in a flat terrain, and it's just like a grid of hexes, and you just move your troops around and try to win. I don't know. It's pretty simple, but also unmemorable. Just the artwork. There is no artwork. It's a hex encounter game. But yeah, Conflict of Heroes is a good game. I like the impulse system in it. I do have the Guadalcanal second edition second part in the series for it. This one I'm getting rid of it because I want to upgrade it to the newer edition. I think this one's the first one. I don't think there's that many rules changes, but still, I like to keep my games up to date. GIF, I love abstract games. I think this one's the first one in the series. Just not. It's okay. It's I think the shining games in that series are. Let's see. You've got Yinch, the number one game in that series for sure, without a doubt in my mind. Then Czar, which is pretty good as well. But GIF, the first one, it's it's fun, but not fun enough to keep. I've got Thunderstone. I actually haven't played it. Need to play that one. Star Wars the card game. It's actually really fun. I love the game. The thing is, the bad thing about collecting anything Fantasy Flight is they come out with so much, and you're gonna fork over maybe like $1,500 before it's all told, and you've got the whole collection and whatnot. Now there are like a lot of sales and whatnot, especially on like places like Miniature Market, where or you can get them used and get them at a reduced price. But I would not want to collect them early on or be too late where you can't get something in the collection and it's the prices are astronomical. But anyways, still a good game. I'd probably give this to a friend so that I can keep it within my game group, but it just needs to leave. I need to declutter. Summoner Wars, not a bad game. There's too much stuff out there. I'm too late in the game to start collecting, so I'm going to get rid of it. So those are the first set of games that I'm definitely they have their foot out the door, so to speak, and I'm looking to either getting them played a few more times, and maybe they can crawl back into my keeper pile, but more than likely they're going to go.